After breast cancer, many of us look in a mirror and we barely recognize the person that's staring back at us. Between the hair loss, the scars, the weight fluctuations, every mark tells a story. And honestly, it's a story that most of us don't want to tell. So today, we're going to talk about something that affects all survivors. So you don't want to miss this. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Zacobia and I wear many hats, many titles, but what probably brought you to my channel, to this video right now, is the fact that you're probably going through a breast cancer diagnosis and I'm a breast cancer survivor, so here we are. How do you rebuild confidence and love yourself again after a breast cancer diagnosis? This is a question that I'm sure is on every survivor's mind. And today, I want to talk about what I did and what helped me rebuild my confidence on my own journey. So let's dive in. First, let's talk about the emotional impact of body changes when you're going through a breast cancer diagnosis. Losing your hair, your eyelashes, your eyebrows, for some women, your breast, your sense of femininity. And so you are thrown into battle and you really don't know what to expect. It's like a deer caught in the headlights. And a lot of this stuff really affects you because society has this norm that they place on like beauty and what's attractive and what makes a woman. And so if you get caught up into what society like deems as beauty and like I said, what's sexy and what's attractive and all of that, all of what I just said, losing your hair, your eyebrows, your eyelashes, and everything about you that makes you feel feminine, that really shakes your confidence. That really like is an attack at everything that you believe that makes you beautiful. However, when you're going through a breast cancer diagnosis, you're in survival mode. And so survival mode, that like it gives a whole nother meaning of what society places as beauty, which like I said, it's not what we do, is what society does. And so because of what society has placed on that, that plays with our psyche. And so we have to get out of that cycle that society has placed on us and look at ourselves from a whole new lens. You have to learn to love the new version of yourself, which is a stronger, more beautiful version, in my opinion, anyway. And so regardless of what your treatment plan involved and how that affect your body and everything, you are so strong. You're so beautiful, more beautiful than ever, because you have gone through something that most people couldn't even think to go through if they hadn't gone through it themselves. And so we have to change we have to break that cycle of whatever society has placed on us. And we have to learn to view beauty in a whole different lens. And so I know it's easier said than done, but it's completely like, it's okay. It's normal to grieve that old version of the person that existed before the breast cancer journey. However, you have to build and heal those emotional scars so that you are willing to accept the new version of yourself. Because again, the new version of yourself is probably way cooler than the old version anyway, because now you're free. Now you're free from everything else that held you into this cycle, this pressure to feel like you had to do this and you had to do that and all of that. Now you're probably really living, because I feel like for me, that is when I really started to live. Like once I went through that journey, looked at life completely different. And so to be in a place where you can now truly be free, that's a whole better version of yourself anyway. What helped me rebuild my confidence? To be honest, I had to reintroduce myself again to myself. Like, allow me to reintroduce myself to myself. I had to realize that I had to get to know this version of me that I had never met before. And so sometimes that meant that I had to look in the mirror and have, a conversation with myself, like positive affirmations to tell myself that you are still beautiful. You are absolutely amazing. You is kind, you is smart, and you is amazing. Like, I mean, of course I didn't say it like that. And of course that's a line from The Help if anybody has watched that. But again, it was just little conversations I had to have with myself, to allow myself that time to get through that journey. Outside of that, I also had to go through like a style rebirth in a sense, especially when it came to clothing and things like that, because the fact that I had a single mastectomy, now things are off balance. And so especially like if I was wearing something like what I have on now, anything that was like a V cut in the beginning, was completely stressful, because I didn't anticipate that the low cleavage situation of not really having, a balanced chest cleavage area anymore. So I had to learn styles of dresses that I normally would wear. I had to now find that version that didn't have, the deep V in it, or something that, it didn't cut so low, or something that I could like pin or something like that. Now, what you see right now is me walking in confidence because I completely, like, there's no pin holding anything or, anything like that. It's just literally what I have on. And if it looks, imbalanced, if it looks off, then that's not my problem. I'm confident. I'm so confident in the point now to where I even go out sometimes and I don't have like the prosthetic in my bra anymore. I'm literally out in my t-shirt and got my bra on, and you got one, breast on one side and nothing on the other side, because I'm not ashamed about it anymore. I was a little bit, just because from the sense of like you wondering what other people think when they see you, like, do I look like a unicorn or something right now? But as I was going through that process of reintroducing myself and reimagining, this version of me, I was able to find that confidence. And so now I'm able to walk out, and if I have it, I have it. If I don't, I don't. When I don't have it, I feel proud, because now I'm a version that I'm a walking billboard that can walk around and show women that, hey, yeah, breast cancer is real, and it doesn't care about anything, and, whatever you got going on. So if you see me and you're like, wow, I never would think that she would go through a breast cancer journey. Trust me, I thought that too. I never thought I would go through a breast cancer journey, but I did. And so hopefully, they are able to see me and see that version of me and see strength, and see that, and be a sense of hope for someone else, to say, like, if they're struggling with the idea of even having a mastectomy, to see another woman out there that's walking around with, one breast, that's still happy and confident in living life, then hopefully that gives them inspiration to do what's best, medically best for them in their life. And so again, it took time to get there, but what I did was go through that process. And so going on shopping trips to find out, okay, well, what works for me? What do I like right now, as I'm, in this stage of, I don't want, or I don't feel confident walking out and people looking at me weird and asking questions because I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to be there yet. Yeah, go shopping. Go shopping and get things that, you enjoy wearing. So like pink is one of my favorite colors. And so instead of having a closet full of deep V cut pink shirts or tight pink shirts, because that was another thing. I usually like my t-shirts fitted. Because I want to show, cleavage, and not cleavage, but you want to show this, and then you want to be like, oh, I got a little waist, and so I got on my jeans and my t-shirt, and so I usually like it fitted and not baggy. Well, that's a problem when you have one normal, God-given breast, and then one that's a prosthetic, because sometimes I can have it on and like one is here and one is here, or vice versa. Like sometimes they're not balanced, and so initially that would bother me, because I would think people would be looking at me and looking and seeing that, wow, like what's going on? Why she got one up here and one down there? But I realized that was me. That honestly, most people were never even paying attention to that. It was just me and what I was dealing with in my own head. So I had to get over that and stop internalizing what I believed everybody else saw me as. So I had to then start seeing myself as, you are a survivor. You're somebody that has a story to tell. You've been through some stuff. And so what if somebody sees you off balance and say, what's going on with you? Then you can share your story. You can give your testimony. You can possibly save someone else's life by them questioning and wondering why you look imbalanced that day. So again, this wasn't something that happened overnight, but that's what helped me get there. I had to go through the process of finding what made me feel comfortable until I got to the point of saying, you know what? I like this version of me. I'm happy. Now, am I completely satisfied with, how things are? No, because y'all already know, if you watched any of my other videos, then you know that I do want to have reconstruction surgery. But we're not there yet. And so until I get there, I'm going to be strong and be confident and enjoy life and every day and every breath that I get to take. Another thing that helped me, especially like with the hair growing back, you've watched any of the previous videos, you know that the hair loss wasn't really a big thing for me. But when it was growing back, like I went through this stage of where I said I felt like I looked like, there's an actress, Viola Davis, that played in How to Get Away with Murder. And so there are scenes where she like takes off her wig and she got her little small fro and all of that. And so that's how I felt with my fro. And there's nothing wrong with it. But I would see myself and see that version and I'd be like, man, I got to get this together because this ain't giving whatever it is I want to give. Like I felt like it made me look a little older or whatever the case may be. I definitely looked like somebody's mama or whatever. And so I went through, you know, getting my hair cut and cute little haircuts and finding out what I liked and how I liked it cut and all of that for a long time. If you go back to some of the previous videos, especially from last year, you can see where I was confident in those haircuts and those styles. Now I'm at the point where my 4-year-old is telling me, don't cut your hair anymore. So now you're seeing that it's growing out more and I'm experimenting with those styles. And so, yeah, just be free and just try new things, try things you hadn't done before. I remember thinking at one point years ago that when I turned 40, I would have a short haircut. And then here I am, I'm, you know, almost 41 now and still, yeah, I have a short haircut. Wasn't quite the way that I would have done it, but hey, still got there. And so, you know, once I got there, it was time to embrace it. And so, yeah, go have some fun, like something spunky and fun with your hair and, you know, go do some makeup sessions and find out what you like. Go on a photo shoot. I did a photo shoot maybe about 2 years ago. That was where I'm wrapped in like the pink tulle or, you know, very thin material and it's flowy and all of that. Like even with that shoot, being able to go out and just kind of like undergarments and being confident and wrapping myself and knowing that I don't have, you know, the breast on this side and I have the scar on this side and all of that. And I was 1000% comfortable showing that in that picture because I never want to forget this version and what I've gone through. So even when I get to the point where I'm doing reconstruction, I want to always be able to remember that version that wasn't even as healed as I am right now, because that version was still like she was blossoming. She was, you know, confident and she was a pretty dope person. So go out and do something for yourself. Do something for yourself that makes you feel good, because those little things, there may be small steps going to, you know, get your hair cut, get your hair done, going shopping and all of that. But eventually, trust me, it leads to something amazing because all those small steps, this little by little by little, it equals to something really big and something beautiful on the other side. So make the small steps. Your faith and your mindset, it matters on that road to rebuilding confidence, because you have to know that beauty isn't perfection. It is basically courage that is worn, you know, gracefully. And so it doesn't matter how you look or what you have or anything like that. If you are able to be confident and have the courage to wear whatever that is, whatever version of yourself that is, and you do it gracefully, nobody will miss, like nobody would even notice. Like you would go through life and not miss a beat. It's only when we start to reflect what we're feeling on the inside that other people are able to pick up on, you know, what we may think is a flaw. If we don't point it out, think of even like when you're going through like, you know, maybe a play or, you know, singing a song or whatever the case may be. I used to, back in the day, I had done like a pageant or whatever. And I remember preparing for that. And, you know, my dad kind of telling me when I would make mistakes to just keep going. And it's something that I tell my kids now too. You just keep working, like don't stop. You make a mistake, don't pause. Because when you don't pause, nobody notices. Nobody would know that you made the mistake unless you point it out. You just keep going. And so the same thing kind of applies with this new version of ourselves as survivors. Yes, you're looking at it as a flaw. It's really not a flaw, but it's when you point it out that people really start to notice it. If you go out there and you don't miss a beat, there are days when I go out there and I don't have nothing but one breast because I didn't put a prosthetic in there, and people don't even notice. And so again, we have to you have to pray and get to the point where you know that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, like God has said that. And so when you know you are wonderfully made, it doesn't matter what flaw you may think you have, because if you have the courage to gracefully walk out this life, no one's going to notice. They're not going to know a thing. Isn't that like the little voiceover? They're not going to know. No one's going to know. Trust me, they're not going to know. You have to know that every scar is a testimony. It's not a flaw. And that if God brought you through it, He brought you through that journey, you went through, that battle, and you have all these scars. He brought you through it so that you can be on the other side and you can walk into whatever that new version is confidently, and you can walk into it with grace. You have to know that, and you have to believe that. And you owe it to yourself to love what's left, what's growing back, what you don't get back, and what you decided to get in instead. Like, you owe it to yourself to love that version of yourself, because what you've been through wasn't easy. And so whatever it is on the other side, you owe it to yourself, because you're still here, you're still breathing, your heart is still beating, you still have an opportunity to go out and enjoy what God gave you. So I know that was a lot. And to kind of sum everything back up, to summarize, basically, like, the confidence, you're not going to gain it overnight. It's a journey as well. And so again, every little small step, one small step, you keep doing it. You keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. And then boom, one day you're going to realize you bad. Okay. You're bad, and bad meaning good. You're going to realize that you're still a bad chick, and you're still a bad version of whoever this is. Because you're still you. You don't lose all of you. It's just that everything else may be a little different, but you still got it. I've said this before in another video. Like, you still got it. You still got it. So be confident in that. But know that it is a journey. And so look at it like, however long the journey was to get through treatment and surgery and healing physically, give yourself that much time, and allow that time period to be just as long to be able to regain confidence, to reintroduce yourself and this version of yourself to yourself, and then to the world. But you need to meet them first. Don't do the world thing first. Reintroduce yourself to yourself first. And then as you build that confidence, and when you're ready, if you're ready, you can go out and tell the world who you are, and go from there. But you don't need to do it. You need to do it for yourself first. So one kind thought at a time, one thing that makes you happy and feel confident at a time. Just take the small steps, and just know that you don't need to compare yourself to the old version. Like, don't get into that loophole of comparing yourself, or wondering when I'm going to be myself again, when I'm going to be that person again. Because remember, you have essentially been rebirthed. And so go faithfully walking into this new version, this new life that God has given you, and enjoy every moment. All right. That's all I have for right now. If this speaks to you, or if you think that this speaks to someone else, please like, comment, share, subscribe, so that you can stay, in the loop from when I post something new. And tell me down in the comments, like, what is one thing that you love about yourself? Tell me one thing that you absolutely admired about yourself. This version of yourself, not the person you were before, but the person that you are now that you've gone through. Maybe you're still going through the breast cancer journey, or maybe you are on the other side of it. Either way, let me know one thing that you confidently love about yourself in spite of everything else. Because we like to bless other people too. So again, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. You may think that, you don't have anything to contribute, but trust me, if you put it down in the comments, you don't know who else you may inspire. Yes, I have things that I point out, but you may have something to point out as well. So let us know in a comment. Give us one thing you love about yourself, to have somebody else look at it and be like, you know what? You're right. I need to think about that too. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.